My name is Jasna, and I'm an artist who lives and works in North Vancouver, British Columbia. My background and how I became an artist, well, I did drawing from a very young age. I guess I could start there. And I knew I wanted to be involved in the arts as I was growing up. I just wasn't sure how, in which way that was going to happen for me. I became a teacher. And I was an art and photography teacher for a long time, like 17 years or so. And then I decided that I really wanted to dedicate myself full-time to art making. I went back to university and I did a master's degree, and I found that that was a fabulous way of actually reintroducing myself to art practices, and also, to the philosophy, to aesthetics, etc. I loved printmaking, I loved drawing. I tried painting, but it was never my kind of thing that I got into. And obviously photography as well. So I got interested in honeybees and did a considerable amount of research work into honeybees, and then did a project which was dedicated to bees. I think when we start looking at some of the things that I have here, and also the things that you see that are in the gallery, you'll see that my work is very much based in a science, and I call it citizen science because I have no science background. But I have a deep interest in botany, and also in entomology, and specifically bees, our native bees. And that, the botany and the entomology is the foundation of all of my work. So my garden is a very important aspect of my research. And not just research as well. I love being out there with the bees. But I must say that it really is more like a lab than a garden. So in terms of my selection process, number one, the selection process is based upon who I see on the plants. And whether, they might be flies, they might be beetles, they could be butterflies. All of those are pollinators, and they're critical, important aspects of our environment. When I'm out in the garden looking for plants, I document the bees that I see, bees and pollinators that I see on the plants, and they become part of my foundation of research. I collect the plants because that's important to me wherever I can, and I will press them in the traditional mode of herbaria, and because I want to have that kind of documentation as well. And the other thing is that, again, that collection of plants becomes a mode of representation. Instead of starting with the science part, I'll put up I'll do black and white photos, which I consider interpretive, or I'll do cyanotypes, or I'll do this quirky little video, and I'll start with that, and then I'll put in all some of the microscopic thing and some of the bee related stuff. For me, there's always, the first thing is to make an interpretation. And then from the interpretation, it goes into some of the science background. It's really very interesting because I chose art as my mode of expression. There are a diversity of ways that one could talk about environmental work. As you know, artists do it in so many different forms, right, in media. And for me, I thought that doing gallery work that can function within the gallery was an interesting mode of doing it because, well, number one, I feel very comfortable there, and it allows me to bring in the science and to represent what I'm working without all the heaviness of the science behind it. So I did start with cyanotype, which is a traditional mode of documenting plant species. And it's a very beautiful technique that does just it leaves the trace of the plant. It can leave quite a lot of detail, but at times it's either too much detail or not enough detail. You know, the blue is very, very beautiful. I love it, but again, the blue is, to me, it just seemed one-dimensional. And I wanted to add something else to it, but not go overboard with tons of color. So what I did with the blue meadow was to kind of take this idea of the cyanotype. So you see that blue in there, but there's also a black background. And with the blue meadow in its various permutations, I mixed drawing with my actual pressed specimens. I would invert the images that I had taken with my digital camera or my scanner to create this kind of negative, this kind of sort of semi-X-ray technique is what I really wanted. And I did the same thing with my drawings so that they are white or very pale blue on the black background. If you're wondering why I'm doing this research and the exhibitions, etc., is to create an awareness and appreciation and a love. I think before we can conserve anything within the environment, we first have to get to know it. And with the knowing, I think, comes love, and then the willingness and the desire to conserve things.